Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics, because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we are wrapping up Season 2 of Veronica Mars with lots of death and lots of retconning. But first, Dancing with the Stars. It was Villains Night, which is actually Halloween, except they decided to just go for campy horror movie stuff.
Lots of blood, and I think every person had fake contacts,
yes,
no matter whether it was relevant or not.
Horror stuff is not my jam anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And just forcing every dance into some creepy thing, which did or did not have anything to do with the way the dance actually shaped up, but still, I think it's the creepy dances have worked very well in a Halloween episode where there's all sorts of different dances, and then the creepy ones can kind of stand out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think of that one with Frankie Muniz where he did that thing with Whitney that was very creepy, where he was like a stalker.
Oh, yeah.
That was super good, but you wouldn't have wanted to have 10 of those.
Yeah.
It would have kind of lost its impact. So this was just too much of an entertainment option I don't particularly dig. So,
right.
Okay.
Many, many paso dobles because...
Yes, so many paso dobles in tango. Yeah. And so much bad music. I was watching Johnny's and all of a sudden I realized, this is Creep.
Yep.
What the hell did they do to Creep?
It was.
Creep is not supposed to sound like this. And also, kind of mean to give that song to somebody.
Yes, but the judges seem to love what Johnny did.
Yes, they did.
Not as much as they loved Neve doing the Black Swan.
Yeah.
I was surprised that there was no comment about his chest hair.
Yeah, I was too. I thought for sure they'd jump in there.
And then you had Artem was a sexy Dalmatian. So it was quite a look.
Yeah. And Justina has gone from a shower of water to a shower of something that was supposed to remind you of the shower of blood in Carrie.
Yeah.
But fortunately, they did not dump blood on her. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but it just looked like something sticky was in her hair.
It did. It was awful. It was awful. I mean, she did a spirited work with that,
mm-hmm.
and good for her. And I really like her, and I hope she does well. But yeah, I don't really need to revisit any of these. And I had to. My daughter is watching this, and she goes, "What's wrong with Nellie's face?" Well, see,
he can't feel his face. You see,
that's right. It was very funny when he said that he just had gone for some acne medication.
Yes, I enjoyed Nellie and Daniela. Actually, you know, we're just now kind of getting to know her as a new pro, and she's fun. I
really enjoyed them very much. I really have no use whatsoever for the Bachelorette or for Chrishell. They could go home anytime. They're not going to. So it's pretty clear they're not going to. And it's also pretty clear that Monica was going home tonight by those scores she got, because her dance was not significantly worse than everybody else's.
Right.
Those were, we're putting our thumb on the scale, so you go home tonight scores.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed she did. So it's kind of sad because she was on the Bobby Bones show today talking about, you know, her experience. And Bobby was saying, "You think you can win it?" She says, "Yeah, I'm starting to think maybe I can."
Oh, God. Ouch.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Bye. I mean, I voted for her some.
Mm-hmm.
And I, especially tonight, because I thought that she was underscored on purpose, and that's not nice.
Right.
But I'm not going to miss her when she's gone, particularly. Mm-hmm. But boy, were there people I would send home before her.
Yeah, same.
And those people that I would send home before her both got really high scores. So either the judges are seeing something I'm not, or they're not getting votes. So
right.
I hate to be conspiracy theory person. I see those people in discussion groups or Dancing with the Stars and think, oh, come on, it's not that orchestrated. But it really sometimes does seem to be that orchestrated. I thought Chriselle and Val's dance was kind of awful. I couldn't see any redeeming value of it. And then the judges thought it was terrific. So what do I know?
Yeah.
Not much.
And then I actually thought Caitlin's was interesting, and they didn't give it the greatest score. Well, I mean, they still gave it good scores, but they didn't give it the greatest comments. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was the sexy Dalmatian, I guess, that distracted me.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of feel like Cruella de Vil is not on the same level of villainy as, say, Freddy Krueger and Hannibal Lecter, but right. I guess if you're a Dalmatian,
poor Jeannie had to wear, like, the leather mask, the Hannibal Lecter mask. Like, that's, like, luckily she got to take it off pretty quickly, but come on.
Yeah.
That's a tough look.
Yes. Skye appears to have remembered her whole dance tonight, so yay for her. Even though the whole Chucky thing creased me out.
Oh, yeah. That was bad.
All of this just is not pleasant. Is there going to be a theme next week other than just two people
Double elimination. Yeah.
Can we just have regular dances? That'd be nice.
Oh, but they are going to each have to do 2.
Yeah. That seems ambitious, but okay.
Yes.
I was glad AJ and Cheryl made it through. I was pretty sure that they were going to get the sympathy vote tonight.
Because she hit her head.
Mm-hmm. It was all over social media that she had hit her head. So, but I enjoy him so much, even though he's dancing really not so great. Mm-hmm. But I just enjoy his personality and the packages and stuff with him. Well, so I don't know how much longer he's going to last.
Maybe the Bobby Bones of this season.
Maybe.
I mean, just in terms of not necessarily likelihood of winning, but just personality.
Yes, that is true.
Trumping.
I mean, he does have a voting base, I guess. How many rabid Backstreet Boys fans are still out there? Didn't do Nick Carter any good, but
Nick Carter went pretty far, though, didn't he?
I guess he did. Bobby Bones fans are motivated, though.
They sure are.
Man.
Has he thrown his support behind anyone yet?
Well, he was saying in the show today that Monica was his pick going in. I think because he had watched the Cheer series and so assumed that she had some dance training, and she insisted today that she did not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of sad that it was just like that very night she watched. But she's got a day job to go to. She'll be fine.
Right.
So, anything? The judges' costumes got old pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's very distracting.
It really is.
I just want to hear what you have to say. Sometimes I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Not have to look at the hair and makeup situation.
Did you fast forward through all the jokey little Halloween bits that they did throughout?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. The only one I thought really worked and was funny was Bruno trying to do scary calls to them all, and everybody knew it was him.
Right. Yes. I don't think I've seen probably the only movie. Okay, I've seen Silence of the Lambs, and I've seen Psycho, and I've seen 101 Dalmatians, but I haven't seen any of Maleficent I saw. I haven't seen these other things. I am too chicken.
I saw Psycho only because I was in a college movie class and they showed it, and I would not have watched it otherwise. But we get so jaded by all this horror films being so graphic and all that stuff. And I remember being so impressed. I mean, this was a long time ago, but that auditorium of college kids still were screaming, "Don't go in the basement!" And,
right.
They were getting into it, even though you really don't see anything.
Yeah, it's all suspense.
You just think you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the shower scene, you never see the knife go in. You just see the flashes and that music and the stuff going down, blood going down the drain, which was really chocolate syrup. But it's, I'm glad I saw it, but I'm not into scary stuff. I did see Poltergeist, but they didn't do Poltergeist. I went through a very, very brief phase of going to horror movies when I was living in Kansas City. I saw that, and I saw American Werewolf in London. And then, like with my roller coaster phase, it just ended abruptly and never has been resumed. I came to my senses and said, "Why are you doing this? It's just scary." So I would just as soon not even watch the Dancing with the Stars version of this scary stuff.
That's right.
So next week, I hope less blood,
Yes.
more pretty costumes.
Yes, please.
Yes. So, speaking of villains, we turn now to Veronica Mars, the last episode of season 2, Not Pictured. And before we get into this, Catherine, I have a shameful secret to share.
Yes.
And just so you don't have to distract me and look on my computer and check my old emails or confront me on a roof or something, I will confess that I was spoiled for this episode. 2 weeks ago, when it became apparent that these last 2 episodes were going to just be a torrent of unpleasantness, I looked up some reviews to just prepare myself for exactly which of the many, the smorgasbord of unpleasantness they had laid out for us over the season, which of those items was going to be featured. I did it first for Happy-Go-Lucky, just to prepare for the Aaron trial stuff, and then as long as I had completely read about that episode, I just went ahead and read about Not Pictured too. So I knew going into this what it was going to be. And even then, it was kind of a cavalcade of WTFs. And how is it possible that out of 20 episodes of red herrings, and then at the end they throw in something completely different? What the heck? Were there any breadcrumbs leading us to Cassidy Casablanca's evil mastermind? Were there any?
I don't think so. I mean, they spent how many, like the last 3, 4, whatever, of trying to figure out who was on this Little League team. And then Veronica just strolls into Woody's hamburger place and looks at the picture on the wall and then has this like Sherlock Holmes moment where everything just like fits together in her brain. But then we have to wait a minute to find out what the heck she figured out.
Yeah. I have to say, I have to give the writers a little bit of credit. All this season, when I've seen Not Pictured as the last episode, I've been thinking it had to do with all the people who never made it to graduation. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of was my expectation. So when she's looking at the Little League picture and then you see Not Pictured, that was kind of a neat,
right.
So they've had a lot of really crummy titles and titles that had nothing to do with anything. That was a good one. That was a nice twist. Because when I had spoiled myself, I was thinking, well, how did nobody recognize Cassidy's picture in the Little League thing? Surely he hasn't changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh my goodness. This was weird. This was just... What?
Yeah, like...
What?
When the scene where... I mean, we're just jumping all over the place, but the scene where Veronica's in the elevator and, Aaron Eccles is in there with her and fully confesses to killing Lily. I was like, maybe Veronica was recording this. Like, it wouldn't be unlike her to be like, oh my God, Aaron Eccles is in the elevator. Press record on my phone somehow. So I was kind of hoping like maybe that
wouldn't have done any good though, because double jeopardy. He's already.
I know, but then it turned out it didn't matter because Clarence Weedman was on the job. I also didn't think like. Then they showed so they showed Clarence Weedman killed Aaron. At the behest of Duncan, who they showed in Australia with his baby.
Yes.
But I actually would have thought it was not Duncan, but his parents.
Yes. That would have made more sense. I was actually spoiled for that one for a really long time because I made the mistake of like looking up how to spell Weidman on the internet and saw a wiki for him. And I thought, just let me see what they have to say about old Clarence. And then the last thing is, by the way, he shoots Aaron Eccles and then calls Duncan in Australia to say it's done. And I'm like, well, so I guess Aaron's getting out of jail and Duncan's getting out of the country. Okay. Beware of the internet. So that was
you gotta be careful.
Not a favorite spoiler, but it made me feel better about Aaron getting out of jail, knowing that he didn't have long to enjoy his freedom.
Right.
But doesn't this open up a whole can of worms, who killed Aaron? Isn't it going to implicate Veronica and Keith, who was supposed to be on the plane and then wasn't on the plane and maybe took a different plane and came and shot Aaron because he thought he had an alibi? It just seems like Duncan would have instructed Clarence to make it look like somebody else we don't like did it, or
like Kendall, who happened to be in
somehow.
The bathroom at the time.
Yeah, well, maybe there's something that's what's in the briefcase is something having to do with all of this, but it just seems messy. It seems, I expect more from you, Clarence, than this. Couldn't you not have just given him a sedative and then taken his body out someplace and,
right,
or put him in a stadium that's going to be imploded, although that turns out not to be foolproof. But we'll see. I hope we will not see next season. I hope this will just all go away.
Yes.
We never have to discuss any of this again. But I also think as long as you are going to retcon Cassidy Casablancas into being an evil mastermind, why couldn't he have just confessed that he also killed Lily and he shot Aaron and he killed Thumper and he killed Felix and he just blame everything on this kid and then throw him off the roof. And then we can just move on.
Then we can just completely move on free and clear.
Have him have Veronica record his confession.
Yeah, because, Weevil getting arrested at graduation was just mean. Come on.
It was lamb. It was so lammy. It could not have been more lammy than that. But that was awful. Although my husband, who is clearly not the target audience for this, was like, good, he's a bad guy. He should get arrested. They should take him away as soon as they can. But it's Weevil.
It's Weevil. Look at those eyelashes. Come on.
See, this is what I mean. Not the target audience.
I know.
But he has no sympathy for any of these teenagers whatsoever.
I know. Well, and so that's all gets wrapped up in the Fitzpatricks, which, were we supposed to think that the Fitzpatricks were just a season-long red herring? We talked earlier about how they were completely absent from season 1. Now they're here for season 2. What happens in season 3 with the Fitzpatricks? Because
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
And also, did we ever hear Woody Goodman's name before this season?
No.
Apparently he's a mainstay of the town. He's been having little league teams. He's been molesting children. He's been creating problems that are going to cause buses to crash and all sorts of things. And yet I thought he was new in town at the beginning of the season.
Right, because
I thought he was a recent addition who was stirring up trouble.
Because I guess Gia was in private school or something. Is that that's why he did the field trip?
But even so, if he's such a pillar of the community, would we not have heard from him?
Of course.
And add to my Neptune confusion, how much hotel business is there in Neptune that they have this high-rise luxury hotel?
That's right.
Named after the town. I mean, there's a lot of rich people in town, but they have houses.
Right, they don't need a
unless
hotel.
their houses are burnt down or they're coming out of jail, they probably don't need to go stay in the hotel. Do they have lots of high...
And then they have all the, beachside,
Yeah.
motels and hotels.
How tall is that building? And Cassidy jumps off the roof, and then you hear way, way, way down below, honks and screams. And what sort of foot traffic is there in downtown Neptune? I don't understand. Sometimes this seems to be, if you look at their graduation, it's 20 kids in the gym. So you think, well, this is some little podunk town. And then they've got a huge high-rise hotel for people to jump off of. It's so confusing. Continuity. Not the show's strong suit.
And, then the whole thing of Cassidy just happens to be on the roof because he lured Veronica up there because she texted Mac.
Yes.
And, Woody's plane is flying overhead at this exact moment.
The exact moment when he blows it up.
Really?
Oh, come on. Come on. What? And why would Mac ask you to meet her on the roof, Veronica? Why would this happen?
Why would she ever say that? We haven't
Honey,
even
you're a smart girl.
We haven't gotten to the whole WTF of the dream sequence.
Oh my goodness.
In this episode that took so long and had nothing to do with anything.
It really didn't.
What was the point?
It had to do with, let's give everybody else one more paycheck. Corinne Bohrer, here you go. Amanda Seyfried, nice to see you again. Sweetie, your career is going well. It was the whole episode. It was like, I didn't think we were going to see Duncan one more time. I thought he was just going to be on the phone. And there's Duncan and little baby on the beach. And there's Clarence Weedman one more time. And there's Wallace's mom. Hi, I remember you. It's just... so weird. They couldn't bring Meg back. Meg couldn't be in the dream sequence.
Right.
Not pregnant and not dead. They couldn't have given that chick one more paycheck. Come on, as long as you're passing him out.
And also the timeline of the dream, like, it would seem like,
so weird.
Well, it's a dream, so it doesn't make sense. But like, you know, Veronica should still have been with Duncan and Lily would have been with Logan's. But in the dream, Veronica was with Logan. So.
Well, in the dream, Lily was in college, and it never occurred to me that I guess she and Duncan wouldn't be the same age unless they were twins.
Right.
And that was not established. So have you been thinking all this time that Lily was a year older than Veronica?
No.
And in a different class?
If anything, I guess I thought she was a year younger.
Yeah, well, that's what my husband thought, too. Didn't they refer to her as being 16 when Aaron was...
Yeah.
Having, when that stuff was going on?
Right.
So how is she that was impossible to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just... did they we've used up, the whole thing was like there was 21 episodes of messing around and then one episode with like a season and a half worth of plot.
Right.
And they still had time left over for a dream sequence.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah. No.
And then completely to the side of all this nonsense is the Jackie retconning, which, what?
And Veronica figured it out because she was a good waitress.
She not only figured it out, but she found the specific diner,
right.
Which assumes that, number one, Jackie is lying about being the daughter of a New York model, but not lying about being from New York. Her mom could be a waitress anywhere that a baseball team stopped by.
Right.
So Veronica theoretically has all of the United States to find that one diner, but... And even within New York.
Think of how many diners there are in the 5 boroughs of New York.
Even in Brooklyn, I bet there's more than one diner. Or did she just start, speed dialing?
Yeah.
Well,
she went to that. Named Jackie.
She went to that website she uses whenever
Private
she wants to
Eyes
get
with
the
a
case
Z.
really quickly. But the Jackie that was originally introduced is in no way this Jackie at the end.
No.
They just suddenly took a turn.
Yes. And I don't know why. I mean, if they were writing her off the show, they could have just sent her to Paris.
Yes.
There was no need for this whole extra storyline.
There was not. Unless they were also writing Wallace out, which they're not. So
right.
It's just silly. It's so silly. So much about this episode is silly. I just don't understand why they thought any of this was a good idea. But did you even for a second fear for the life of Keith Mars when the plane blew up?
No. I figured there was something there. I didn't understand and this was brought up in the podcast and I'm sure on other online discussions, but why didn't Cassidy just blow him up on his way out of town instead of waiting till he was coming back?
Yes, that is a good question. I guess maybe he didn't know. Well, if he had the bomb on the plane.
Right. And how did he know that he was on the plane at that time? Because they had Corny say that he got arrested, right? But that has no bearing on whether or not he would actually be on the plane.
Yes. And he knew the flight plan to the second so that he could blow it up while it was right behind him.
Over his head.
That is some serious evil mastermind skills the boy has.
Yeah, he can't teach algebra, but he can figure all this stuff out.
I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous because we have never been encouraged to see Cassidy as anything but a troubled, haunted victim. I completely buy him being one of Woody's victims.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of this seems like a stretch, but okay, it is TV, and if he's getting some agency, okay, fine. But the whole bit about him having orchestrated Veronica doing the thing with Kendall to expose his dad, to get his dad to go away, that I think that was a little bridge too far. Because that then is just mwahaha. He is evil, orchestrating people to do his will like puppets. Everything else could just be a reaction to terrible things that have happened to him. But that just seems silly. And we saw the look on his face when his dad was rushing away, and it was not, everything has been to my belly. It was, what did I do? I don't understand what's happening here. So clearly they threw that in at the end. They may have known where Cassidy's character was going all along, but that one they just threw in. Hey, what if we say he did that too?
Mm-hmm.
Just so silly. The one thing I'm disappointed, if Cassidy is going to be an evil mastermind, how did he not work it out so that Kendall is in trouble at the end instead of having $8 million? I mean, I knew he didn't know he was going to die, but still, wasn't the whole point of that real estate thing to stick it to her?
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
I didn't understand that part either.
So apparently he was successful. I mean, blackmailing Woody into throwing incorporation.
Mm-hmm.
Then he makes a lot of money from all these properties he invested in.
Right.
That's fine. But it seems like he would have some poison pill somewhere for Kendall that she would not get it.
Yeah, for sure.
If something were to happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what's in the briefcase. We're putting in all this stock in the writers being clever and setting up things for season 3. I don't want any of this to lap over into season 3. Yeah. I would have liked the lawyer to say, oh, yes, and I see that you have done all this fraud with real estate. Here, we have the police to take you away.
Right.
And then everything's done. I don't know if Charisma Carpenter is in the show next season. I guess she is if they have this cliffhanger.
Yeah, at least at the beginning.
Yes. I also don't buy Keith leaving Veronica standing at the airport when she just thought he was dead earlier.
Yes.
So much I don't understand. But can we just, if anything is going to lap over into next season, I need it to be some acknowledgement that Keith and Veronica have sat down, whether on their vacation or at home, and Veronica has told Keith every single thing that has happened in this show since it began. I need to know that he knows everything.
Yes.
See, Dad, I was raped, and then I thought I wasn't raped, but then it turned out I really was raped. Is that just not the most mind-blowing, awful thing to go back on?
Right. So that next time they're being questioned on the witness stand, they won't be surprised by sneaky lawyers saying terrible things about.
Yes, he needs to know absolutely every single thing. Also, a thing I don't understand about Neptune, amongst, number 562.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the most sexually hygienic town in America? Because apparently there's just one case of chlamydia.
Right.
And if anybody else has it,
Patient
to be
zero.
the person who raped me.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, Woody had it, and Woody assaulted him when he was a kid, and then later on, I thought maybe he raped me, but then he didn't. But now, since he has that thing that Woody has,
right,
it must be him.
Yeah.
Nobody else in Neptune?
Mm-mm. Nobody
could have done it. I gotta think there's probably more than the cases that Woody instigated.
Right.
Stupid nonsense.
Yes.
And really do not go back and reopen up the bad way you handled the rape in the first place.
Right. Please.
So much awfulness. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they left it to Beaver in the end. And
my name is Cassidy.
Oh dear. And how much is this going to scar Mac for the rest of her life? She's resilient, right? She'll bounce back?
Yes.
When Veronica tells her all the things.
Everything. Oh my goodness.
But it's okay. He's dead now. He threw himself off the building.
Right. So no worries.
Butters is looking better now. He's sitting back.
Oh gosh. Butters. Oh my.
So, Veronica Mars season 2. we throw you off a roof and we hope never to hear from you again. You were quite awful. Next week, we will not watch any Veronica Mars. We're going to take a little break before we get to season 3. We're hoping that the Veronica Mars Investigations folks take a long break so that we can blame it on them.
They're taking a month.
They're taking a month, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, because of them, we're taking a break, but also because
we need one.
We need to rest now. And we need to watch something that we hope will be more entertaining, more humorous, and less nonsensical than that. So we are going to watch a movie on Apple TV called On the Rocks, starring Bill Murray and Rashida Jones. It's the latest Sofia Coppola movie. It would probably have been in the theaters if going to theaters was something that we did, but instead it is on Apple TV. We've been looking forward to it for quite some time. Catherine, you're going to sneak on with a free Apple TV membership and watch this and then cancel it, is your plan?
I think so, probably.
All right. So listeners, if you do not have Apple TV already, join Catherine in that endeavor. And then we will also be watching Dancing with the Stars Double Elimination.
OMG.
Could Tyra be one of those eliminations? It'd just be a celebrity and her? No. Anyway, that's going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.